All right, here we go, Jimmy. Our second annual Selection Sunday show. Can't wait to break down the bracket. There's some things I got problems with, which we'll get to in a minute. But before we even get to that, there's two topics since our last show that I said to you before we started. We have to hit. We can't skip them. They're that crazy. And the first one is this is getting insane. Another Sunday and another meltdown on the PGA Tour. Aberg looks like the way he's swinging, no way he's going to blow a 3-shot lead. And Saturday it was up to a 4-shot lead at one point. And sure enough, this guy turns on the back nine and just completely screws us over and melts down.
Pair of sixes in a row.
Just like Laurie. Balls in the water. It's just like, I guess where I land in the question, can you trust this guy the rest of the year, or is this just going to stick in his head now?
No, it's funny. I was actually talking to somebody about this, and they pointed out that the last round, he ought to. They were obviously extremely skilled shots, but he had a number of chips that really saved his round. So if you looked at it from that standpoint, he wasn't playing unbelievably in round 3. He just kind of had some really great shots pulling back. And when he put that 7-wood right in the middle of the pond, like not even close, and said, well, here we go.
Here we go again. Laurie gets us. Aberg gets us. We just can't get lucky in this Mayo Cup. And then, of course, we're a few weeks late on Cam Young, who wins the tournament on us. Just all you can do is shake your head. The only good news for us was, I think it was Morikawa who withdrew, and 25% of the field had him and got screwed after one hole. So that helped. We did get a top 5, but it sucks because when you hit a top 5 and anybody who followed my plays and bet them across the board, you made money. But it just feels like you lost money because you had the 25-1. Pretty much you were counting your money at the beginning of the day and especially halfway through the round Saturday, and becomes a loser.
Yeah, I thought it was the day. I didn't think he was going to implode. I mean, and he did. I was watching the second half. Fitzpatrick was going to go on the run, and then he didn't. And your boy
Cam Young it was more Cam Young won the tournament. I know Fitzpatrick bogeyed 18, but the shot Cam Young pulled off on the Island Green on 17 was phenomenal, and it took stones to hit it. So you got to give Young credit for taking that shot, and then his drive on 18 was, I think they said, 20 yards farther than anyone hit the ball all week. So he just roped one.
Yeah.
All right, the other topic before we get into the bracket is, and Jimmy's in Baltimore right now for work, so it's an appropriate topic to ask you. How fucking shady are the Ravens? They said, hey, Max, we joined the team. Here's the trade. Hendrickson, you're available? Just kidding, Max. You didn't pass the physical. Go back. We'll keep our first-round picks and just pay this guy.
I think if they were more forthcoming about that, there'd be less to be mad about.
Right, exactly.
Right? But that's exactly what happened. I don't blame him from a business standpoint.
If
I'm a Ravens fan, if that happened to the Browns, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take Trey. I know Max Crosby is the better player, but there's not a steep fall off Trey Hendrickson, and we keep two first round picks.
Yeah, you keep your first round picks, and you get to your point. If Crosby's a 95, Hendrickson's a 92.
Yeah, so
but it's just so fucking shady.
Yeah, and now he's back in Vegas saying I'm a Raider, let's go, and good for him what he wanted to say. And I think for him is it was said that he was the one that wanted out. So if you're the Raiders, it's easier to take it back. Be like, hey, we didn't want to get rid of you to begin with. You wanted out. We tried to find you a home. Now you're back here. Are we in or not?
I mean, right now, you got to make a bet, and I'll give you even money. You're telling me Max Crosby lines up with the Raiders week 1 because I'm telling you he doesn't.
I don't think so, but I don't think they're going to lower their asking price.
I think they will. I think they'll get a first and maybe a third, and it'll happen on draft night.
I heard weren't they offered a first and a second and they turned it down?
Yeah, it's easy to turn it down on March 15th. Let's see what they do draft night when somebody with a decent pick says, all right, here's my first rounder, and there's someone on the board they actually want. Then I think Crosby will be unloaded. But until they see how the draft starts unfolding, will I play the same game the Raiders are playing? No, 2 first rounders.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll all change draft night. We see that happen way too often.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the main topic and what basically the rest of the show is going to be. And that's Selection Sunday. Brackets were revealed about 3 hours ago. Right off the rip, did the selection committee do a good job or did they fail us once again?
Well, I think they got the number ones right. Probably you could argue Florida, but I think they got the number ones right.
I
But
agree.
somebody's going to have to explain to me how a UConn team who lost twice to St. John's, most recently yesterday, and got completely shellacked, have a very similar record. How UConn's a 2 seed and St. John's is a 5 seed. Both are egregious. At best, UConn should be a 3 seed, and at worst, St. John should be a 4 seed. But somehow 2 and 5, I don't understand it. I don't know
I
how
got
to
a
explain it.
huge problem with it. You can't tell me the regular season champ and the tournament and the conference tournament champ is a 5, and the team that came in second in both is a 2. Why? Because they won 2 national championships back to back 2 years ago. What does that matter? This is egregious. Clark Kellogg's an absolute dope for his comment, who said, "Well, it still counts when you lose by 30." Oh, that's fine, but they also beat them, Clark. They beat them twice now.
Uh,
So they're 2-1 against them straight up. They won the league and they won the conference tournament. And they didn't just win the conference tournament against UConn, they dominated them last night.
yeah, UConn never had a chance. They got punched in the mouth. They got punched in the mouth from the start of the game. It was 10-0, and you never thought UConn might come back. I mean, they got back within 9, I think. I think it might have been 49-40 or somewhere in that range at some point. But you never were worried about him coming back. And Ejiofor, he was good last year. He's great this year. He looks like a different player out there to me.
Look, and if the overall KenPom strength of schedule rating was UConn, 7 and St. John's 107, then maybe I could listen to the argument. But we're talking 36 and 44.
Yeah.
It's two teams. One out of conference game UConn played versus a couple St. John's played. But again, head to head, 2-1. You're talking the regular season and the conference champ, and they're a 5 seed. And the team that lost in all 3 of those categories is a 2 seed? It is bullshit. And you know what it is? It's they hate Patino.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. But I think there's 2 problems. One, that they're higher than St. John's, and 2, that they're a 2. Like none, right? So, like neither make any sense.
Well, you know why it makes no sense? And here's why. And I'm just going to yell them out to you. There's one that unfortunately we'll get to because that's our second problem with the selection committee. But let me give you the other 3. Michigan State, UConn. Who are you favoring?
Michigan State.
Okay, Michigan State's a 3. Illinois, UConn. Who are you favoring?
Illinois.
Again, Virginia, UConn. Who are you favoring?
Virginia.
Right. And those are all 3 seeds. And then you can go as far as to say Alabama, UConn. Who are you favoring on a neutral court?
Yeah. That'd be the most compelling game. I think Alabama's the to me the worst of those that we named. Are they the 4th ranked?
They're a 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so yeah,
I'm favoring Nebraska, Kansas, and Alabama over UConn.
Hey, 2 seed.
And there are 2.
There are 2.
And the other 4 is Arkansas. I would take Arkansas on a neutral court over UConn. They just won the SEC and they came in 3rd in the SEC.
Yeah. Oh, the real winner here, I think, is obviously Duke.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the flip side of that is Duke's not going to see. They're not going to see him in the Elite Eight because they're not going to get there. So
right. The only thing I would say about Duke is where I'd be annoyed if I was Duke is my Sweet 16 game probably should have been my Elite 8 game if St. John's gets there because St. John's is the best team out of those 4 that will play in that little pod. However, where the committee just piled on St. John's is they threw Northern Iowa in there as the 12. And Northern Iowa has been playing, as we said on the show, excellent basketball. We told you to bet them to win their conference tournament at plus 480, and they just ripped right through that conference tournament. That I would be annoyed if I was St. John's. They got it both ways. Not only did they get put a 5, they got a really tough matchup in the first round. I know they're favored by 9, but don't be fooled. Northern Iowa is a good team.
Yeah, they are. I do expect the Johnnies to win. I mean, so Duke's going to get Kansas or St. John's likely, right, in the round of
16.
The round of 16. And then I mean, there's a few teams that could make this happen, but I would say Michigan State.
Well, I'll tell you right now, UConn has no chance against Michigan State if they're there.
I agree. Michigan State coming off a bad loss in the tournament, they're going to be, I think, a motivated Michigan State team.
I don't see UConn getting past UCLA, quite honestly.
Might not.
But we'll get to that in a little while. I was really annoyed with Gonzaga's seeding as well. They are not a fucking 3 seed. I'm sorry. They're just not. I don't care. If that means St. Mary's a 10 and Santa Clara's a 13, fine. But Gonzaga is not a 3.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good KenPom rating, right, for what it's worth, but their strength of schedule is 87th. Like, they don't play anybody.
That's fine. And if they lost in triple overtime to Michigan by 1, we could have a conversation. Right. They lost by 50.
Yeah, they did.
Their best game, the best team they played this year, beat them by 50.
Yeah, it was an ass whooping. It was Mark Few's worst loss in history.
So,
but don't forget, according to Clark, that doesn't matter. It's just one.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, no, doesn't fucking matter. Just a dumb Ohio State fan. I was annoyed about that. Now, where I'll pivot and say they got it right was they kept Auburn out. Thank the fucking Lord, because at 17 and 16, we've been screaming for weeks. This is not a tournament team.
Yeah, if I heard one more analyst tell me that Auburn was the best team on the bubble with their basically 500 record,
yeah,
I was going to jump off a cliff.
Congratulations, Auburn. I'll concede it to you now. You're the greatest 17 and 16 of all time. That's a great fucking thing to be.
Yeah. Everybody wanted them in.
Great accolade that you have. I will commend the tournament also for putting St. Louis in because they didn't win their conference tournament and they were 41 in the KenPom and they got in as a 9 seed. And I applaud them for putting in Miami of Ohio because I thought we were going to be sitting here screaming that how do they do it again to a little school that went undefeated. They went undefeated in the regular season. They deserve a chance. They're in the play-in game, but whatever. They're still in the tournament. I commend them for giving them a chance. And if they get blasted by SMU, so be it.
Yeah, I do too. I wish they were in the tournament. I don't love it that they're in the play-in. I think if they would have won their tournament, they wouldn't be in this position.
No, they won their
tournament. It's not like they got shellacked. They lost by 4 points in a competitive game.
Right, but it was a quarterfinal. You still have to win the tournament. If they won the tournament, they probably would have been a 9 seed.
Yeah. But hopefully, I don't, the early line's SMU 8.5. So we'll see. But it would be a good story.
It opened at 6.5, by the way. It's already moved 2 points. That's how little faith the Sharps have. Because the Sharps are the ones who are out there betting these opening numbers, trying to take advantage of them. Mm. That's how little faith people have in Miami, Ohio.
Yeah. Well, Godspeed, Miami.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I'll have to – I don't know if I want to lay 8.5, but I don't think there's a chance SMU loses the game, unfortunately. Sorry, Miami, Ohio. All right. Is there anything else that you had a problem with or you really liked that they did?
I mean, I was surprised Arkansas wasn't a little higher coming off of winning the SEC. We've talked about it. They've been a little up and down, but I would have thought they were going to be a 3 seed. They're a 4.
Yeah, I would have swapped them with Connecticut. I would have reshuffled a little bit and made them a 3. To me, Connecticut was no better than a 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think they got it right with Purdue. Purdue was was a top-rated team to be in season. They had some struggles. They finished strongly, just won the Big Ten tournament. I think they should be a 2 seed. I think they got that right. I'm glad to see Santa Clara, like we talked about, and St. Mary's got in.
I was surprised BYU was as high as a 6 the way they played.
Yeah.
11 losses and they're a 6 seed. And I was surprised Kentucky was a 7 seed at 13 losses. I thought Kentucky was going to be an 11 seed.
Yeah, if this was college football, not college basketball, then North Carolina wouldn't have been in like they do when college football does when your best player gets hurt. They just say, no, you're not going to be in the tourney.
Yeah, you're not coming in. I know you're undefeated, but nope, no playoff for you.
Sit on the sideline. But they put they put North Carolina in at a 6, which is good for the bottom of the bracket there.
I thought Iowa was going to be more on the 7 line myself, and they got flipped over as a 9.
Yeah, Iowa's playing some good basketball too.
So I also thought Louisville might be a 5. They got a 6, whatever. I mean, it's close. I thought Vandy got hosed a little bit. I thought Vandy might have, been fighting for a 3 seed, and they got flipped over a 5. I'm okay with Purdue. They did win the tournament, so all right. But they do have 8 losses. I don't know. These 2 seeds to me, Florida's got to be the first 1 seed in history with 7 losses. No.
Maybe. I mean, their strength of schedule was so good. But to your point with the Vandy, like Vandy just lost to Arkansas. They're ranked higher in Ken Palm. They lost to Arkansas in the finals, so they positioned them that way. With the Big East, they said not so fast.
Well, that's the funny thing, right? I think they say the conference tournaments don't matter until they want them to, and they do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's my problem. It's either they don't matter or they matter. Either you can play yourself in or out, or up and down in seeding, or they truly don't matter. If they truly don't matter, then stop having them.
Yeah,
Just extend the regular season 2 games.
agree.
All right.
They do. They for sure matter because there's automatic bids.
Of course there is. There's automatic bids, but but the committee goes back and forth to make it fit their narrative, whether the conference tournament matters or not.
It's what it should just be. Yeah, shouldn't be left with the people. There should just be a system.
All right, you ready to break this thing down and put in our first $100 $1 million bracket?
Let's do it live for the second year. Let's pick a bracket in real time here.
We will give you the bracket, and we'll give you our picks based on the number we're getting listed right now. Obviously, if you're going to wait to bet, these lines usually do move quite a bit. So we'll give you that disclaimer, but we're going to give you our picks with the Sunday night opening lines. And then we'll be back Friday night to give you the round of 32 stuff and kind of give you our first round and a half analysis, because we'll be recording while the night games are going Friday in the first round. All right. Let's start with Duke, Siena. Duke is a 28.5-point favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Before we give our pick here, I will say, man, they screwed our boy from the Qs, huh? Big old McNamara got hosed. I thought they'd put him on the 15 or 14 line, give the guy a chance to get an upset, but nope, they threw him not only on the 16 line. They said, "Good luck with Duke, sir." But hey, maybe they're saying, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna do you, Jared. We're gonna do you a solid. We'll get you out of the tournament real quick so you can go interview for that Syracuse job." So I like Duke. As far as the spread, I'm not touching it, but Duke moves on for me. I don't know if
the game's an absolute void. Duke obviously moves on.
I would say, like I always say in these first round games, I would look at the under.
Yeah.
Because a lot of unders usually come in the first round. So we got Duke moving on in shocking fashion to start our bracket in the East. Second game in the East, we got Ohio State, TCU. Ohio State is 2.5-point favorites. Jimmy, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, I like Ohio State to move on. They've been playing pretty good basketball. They played Michigan reasonably tough. I think they've been playing better as the season goes on. They're certainly ranked higher. Decent defense, better offense. I think Ohio State gets it done.
Yeah, I like TCU for the same reasons you just said. I think TCU has been playing pretty good basketball down the stretch. This line opened at 4.5 at some places, down to 2.5 in a lot of spots. I don't know. I have a feeling that TCU could be the side here. So we're going to have to go to a tiebreaker here between the two of us. So I guess what we're going to do, and I think it's going to be you on this one if I remember Ken Palm. Well, we'll go to Ken Palm, and that'll tiebreak us. I think Ken Palm has Ohio State much higher, and they do.
Yeah. Ohio State 26, TCU 43.
So we're going to move Ohio State on Jimmy's recommendation, but I'm still going to say I would take the points, because that line's about to drop again probably to 2 or 1.5. So we're going to move Ohio State on. And the reason we'll do it is because we're both going to move Duke on when we get to the round of 32 in a minute.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't matter.
We're going to let Jimmy get that one, and the next tiebreaker, we're going to make it go my way. All right. St. John's, Northern Iowa. Again, I think St. John's got host here. They're giving 11.5. I think we're both going to agree. I think the Johnnies are hot. I think they have one of the best defenses in the land. Love the Johnnies to move on. Would not lay the points, though. If you're going to bet this game, I would take the points.
I agree with both statements. Talked about Northern Iowa actually a little bit, playing pretty good ball. It's actually there's always a 12-5 upset. I don't think this is it.
Yeah, I don't either. However, in the next one, I will tell you, I think 14.5 points is nuts for Kansas. I think Cal Baptist will give them all they want and give them a little scare. I don't know if I'm bold enough, unless you are, to move Cal Baptist on, but I think they cover.
I agree. I think Kansas lets us down enough, but they're going to come through and move on. And I probably would avoid the play, but if I was going to play it, I would take Cal Baptist in the points.
Yeah, I think Cal Baptist is good enough. I really do. I think they're good enough to stay in the game. All right. This one's intriguing. The 6-11 game in the East. South Florida has been really good all year, but they play in a shitty conference. And Louisville, to me, has been a disappointing team all year. They have these great expectations. The Ken Palm loves them, but they've never played to their potential. They have 10 losses as an ACC team, which you would think if they were the second best team in the ACC, that would be much, much better. Strength of schedule adjusted is 116th in the nation. So not a great strength of schedule. Who do you like here?
I want to say South Florida. I really do. So I'm going to. This is the upset. But you got the tiebreaker on this one.
I am on the fence. I want to see one thing. I want to see their defensive ratings. Their defensive ratings are almost identical, second and 56th. South Florida averages 88 points a game, but again, a weaker schedule. I'm with Jimmy. This is going to be an upset for me. I like South Florida to move on. The Bulls beat the Cards, and we're definitely going to take the points here, I think.
Yep. Good.
All right. Next up is Michigan State, North Dakota State. Now, I love me some North Dakota State, as everybody knows, but not this time. Michigan State moves on.
Yeah, Michigan State, like I said, coming off a tough loss in the Big Ten tournament. I think they come in really, really motivated. Jeremy Fears has been, playing under control and playing better and better as the years gone on. Not getting all the texts anymore either, hopefully. I think they make it happen.
UCLA, UCF. I think UCF is going to wind up being a sexy pick for a lot of people. Not for me. UCLA showed me some stuff here in the Big Ten tournament. I think they're a pretty decent team. I think UCLA wins. I also think they cover the 6.5.
I agree, both.
And if you're a money line parlay guy like Jimmy and I sometimes are, I think UCLA in the money line is a good starter. UConn giving 20.5 to Furman. It's a 2 seed. Nothing. I can't even tell you how bad I want to just say put Furman in, but it's $100 bracket, so we won't. But God, I want to.
Here's my take on this: we move UConn forward, and we're going to take UConn with the minus 20.5 because this is typical UConn. Bob or Danny Hurley, like they're going to punch down now and try to prove something.
Yeah.
So they're going to come out and dominate the game and try to show that it was a fluke, but they're playing Furman. So they're going to beat them by 30 points. So I'm taking UConn and I'm taking the points.
All right. We'll decide if we're betting that game or not, but I'm going to give you my hot take for everyone out there. And on our next show, you can either say, wow, I can't believe we might be recording during it because I think this is a Friday night game. Furman's going to give them all they want and give them a little scare. UConn will win, pull away in the second half. But I bet you this game is more competitive than you think it would be in the first half.
Hey, that would be exciting.
I think it's going to be that classic 15-2 game where Furman goes up like 21-12 and everyone's like, oh my God, what's happening? And then eventually UConn will wear them down and win by 12. But I think Furman gets out and gives them a little game. All right. Florida we go to the South. Florida versus the winner of the play-in game. Right there with Florida.
Pretty easy.
Not hard. I think they got the wrong team as the 9 here, but the right team favored. Iowa giving 2.5 to Clemson. I know we like Michigan and we like the Big Ten, but I think Iowa's just gonna outclass them. I like giving the points, and I like Iowa to move on.
I agree. The only game I watched from start to finish was when Michigan went to Iowa. They got the win, but it was a close game. Iowa played them really, really tough. I've only got pieces otherwise, but they impressed me. Iowa's got a good squad. I think the 9 seed upsets the 8 seed and moves on.
What happens in this 5-12? Vandy, McNeese.
I think you have to go Vandy after they played a really great tournament. They're a really good team. I think this is one of the more mismatched 5-12s. So there's going to be an upset, but I don't think it's this one.
I'll tell you the thing here, and I get what you're saying. Vandy should come out of the better conference, but McNeese scores points. Now I know again the conferences are different, but if you look at like the offensive stats, offensive McNeese is 38th, and defensive their rating is 27th. Vandy's is 137. So I don't think it doesn't mean McNeese is going to win, but I think it's going to be closer than the experts think at 12.5. I think McNeese might be able to hang for a little while and cover this number.
Yeah, I think they could potentially cover, but I wouldn't pick them to move on.
Let's see. Yeah. All right, we'll move Vandy on. This is one where I'm on the fence from a betting standpoint. This could be a money line play for me on McNeese, but we'll move Vandy on. Do the smart thing with the big favorite. Troy and Nebraska.
There is not a school out there I know less about than Troy. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
don't see Troy. I don't see Troy beating Nebraska. I got to be honest with you. So we're gonna move Nebraska on. Just trying to get a little more info on Troy. Yeah, we're gonna move Nebraska on. I can't see Troy giving them a game, but I do like an upset in the next one. North Carolina, the 6th seed, VCU, the 11th. North Carolina's given 2.5. I like VCU to move on. I think VCU beats them. I think VCU is playing good basketball.
They are. North Carolina has, like we just talked about, their best players out for the season. Still a decent squad around them, but VCU is not a scrub. VCU is a good team, right? So, tough draw there. But I think VCU moves on. It's our second or third, technically. We have a 9-8 there, but still counts. It's our third upset pick.
All right. We'll steamroll through this one. Penn shouldn't even be here. Yale, you should be ashamed of yourselves for blowing that game. Illinois steamrolls Penn. They're giving 23.5. I don't love laying a lot of points, but God, if I was going to lay a big number, it would be in this game. Give me Illinois to easily.
Well, Illinois has got one of the best offenses in the country, so I agree. I think if they come out and they're hot, they could blow Penn out of the water.
St. Mary's gives 2.5 to Texas A&M. I'll throw it to you first.
Is a tough one. I mean, look, Texas A&M. At first sight, you go, well, they played in the SEC. It's a much harder strength of schedule. A&M has the 52nd rated strength of schedule. It's not like 4 like Auburn was or Tottenham. So it's not like they played some killer teams. And I realize that St. Mary's obviously hasn't either. But I'm going to go St. Mary's here.
I'm 100% with you, and I'd lay the points too. And what it comes down to for me is St. Mary's can defend and Texas A&M cannot. Yeah. And on a neutral court, I'll take the defensive team all the time when the offenses are pretty much even.
Yeah,
they're on even playing field on offense, but head and shoulders, St. Mary's can defend over them. So give me St. Mary's to move on. And then I think we're both going with Houston, correct?
Yeah, that's an easy pick.
All right, let's go to the West. And I love Long Island to get blown out by Arizona.
LIU, not sure how you were in before you won your tournament, but you were. I actually watched that game. They were playing a team from my hometown. And it was, there were tens of people in the crowd.
Yeah.
The stadium could hold maybe hundreds, maybe not.
We're moving zone on.
Yeah.
The next game, and when Jimmy was in the car as Selection Sunday was going on, so I was reading him the bracket as it was being flipped over. And the minute this game got flipped over, I told him, don't be surprised if the 9 seed is favored. And it's another 9 seed I love here. Utah State, Villanova. Utah State, the 9 seed, 2.5-point favorite. Love Utah State in this game.
I'll roll with you. I don't know a ton about Utah State. Villanova had a nice little season. I like when Villanova's good. When Nova was good, it was fun. They're sort of semi-local to us, but yeah, I think Utah State gets it done.
All right, I'll go first. This is where I get ballsy, and you might have to talk me down here. Wisconsin, High Point. Line is now 10.5. I think it's come down, actually. I think it opened 12.5. I don't know what you got at DraftKings. I should probably check there, too, while we're doing this, because I'm on ESPN, and who knows what their crazy numbers are sometimes.
9.5 right now.
Oh, my God. It's come way down. Way down. I gotta. When we're done with the show, I got to get High Point locked in before this number comes down more. I think High Point wins the game. This is my 12-5 upset. I love the points. I love High Point. This team is good. They were a sexy pick, I think, last year, and they didn't get it done. They can score the basketball. And on a neutral court, they have not even a puncher's chance. They have a phenomenal chance to pull off this upset. If you, I just look at their offensive stats. I mean, they're the third best offensive rated team in the country in some of these rankings. And why I like High Point is this. If you look at Wisconsin, 234th in defense when you put them up against just straight defensive ranking versus everyone in the country. That's on level playing field. If you look at KenPom, you're going to see a little bit different. But if you put them right down with everyone, with all 360 whatever teams, they come out two. High Point's the third best offense in the country.
Look, I'll roll with High Point with you because you have the tiebreaker anyway. Wisconsin has just been they've been playing some pretty good basketball.
They're phenomenal at home.
Yeah, but let's go. There's going to be a 12-5. I guess this will be it.
Yeah, and when we're done with the show, scroll over to our account and lock this in with 9.5 before it falls to 6.5.
All right.
Everyone's gonna hammer High Point. They can score the basketball. Next one for me, look, Hawaii's a nice story. I wish they didn't win. I liked Utah Valley. It's fine, but I'm going Hagen all day.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't even be a 4 seed. They should be higher than that.
I agree.
I think BYU beats whoever wins the play-in game. I'm gonna give BYU 1 win in this tournament. Oh, man. Oh, you know what? I take that back. I might be giving them 2.
You might be giving them 2.
I forgot who was underneath them.
Yeah.
So, God, everything in me, Jimmy, wants to put Kennesaw State past Gonzaga, but I won't touch this game because I'm going to hate myself if Gonzaga covers and I try to go against them. But I'll move the Zags up.
Agreed.
Okay. All right, I'm going to let you go first in this one because I'm interested in your opinion. Miami, Missouri. Miami opens a 2.5-point favorite.
I mean, Miami's a pretty well-rounded team. You've got to give credit there. I'm trying to pull up their actual wins for the season. I just don't remember a real signature win recently from Miami. I might just be not remembering it, and it happened.
It's down to 1.5 at some spots. All right. Well, you're looking that up. This game comes down to another simple stat for me. It's the defense. Missouri doesn't know how to play it, and that's the problem for me. So I'll take Miami on a neutral court, and I'll lay the 2.5.
Yeah, they beat Louisville. They lost to Louisville, and they beat them in the tournament. They did beat SMU, who's getting in. They got shellacked by Virginia a couple of times. They beat North Carolina when they were still healthy. You know what? I'm going with the Canes.
So we're going to move the Canes on, and we're going to move Purdue on in the next game.
We are.
We're going to move Michigan on. That's an easy one.
Georgia and St. Louis.
Georgia and St. Louis. Where do you land here? Georgia 2.5-point favorite.
Look, just because I want to see it happen, old Marty is getting moved on in my book here.
It's a coin flip game. I got no problem with St. Louis. So move St. Louis on. This game in the line scares me a little bit. When it came out, and we looked at it, I said, ooh, the Zips getting the 12 seed. They're getting funny here. Texas Tech and the Zips. Can the 64 team and the KenPom possibly beat the 20th ranked team?
They can, because I don't trust Texas Tech tremendously, but I don't think they're going to. I think Texas Tech's gonna pull it out. That's what I think. I think Texas Tech. I'm not positive, so don't quote me on this, but I think Texas Tech has the best strength of schedule of all the Big 12 teams. So they did play a really tough schedule this year. My big gripe at the beginning of the year where they were beating unranked teams. They couldn't beat a ranked team to save their life. I actually bet Colorado because that's how confident I was about that. But they turned it around as the year went on. So I don't think so. I think our 5 upset we picked and Texas Tech gets by here.
This is one to be I'm just going to be transparent. We're going to roll with Jimmy and Texas Tech on this bracket. But I will tell you, I will have some shares of Akron and other. I'll have multiple brackets out there in the DraftKings $10,000 one and the $1 million one. Texas Tech scares me. I would tell you this. If you're playing in the Survivor, I would not make this your 5 seed that you don't think is going to go very far because they could get zipped.
I agree with that.
I would probably avoid in the spread too. This is one that I'm either taking the points or staying far, far, far away from because to Jimmy's point, I don't trust Texas.
I don't either. Yep.
But we'll move them on because simply for me, Bama crushes Hofstra, and then I think Bama's moving to Sweet 16. So Bama's my block to the Texas Tech game. So we're going to move Bama on. We're in agreement there, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. It would be nice if ESPN listed the play-in. Who's the play-in game that gets Tennessee? Let me look on another site.
SMU, Miami, Ohio.
Your thoughts? We both hate Tennessee. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't like Tennessee. I don't totally believe in them. They did beat Vanderbilt once. They got beat by Kentucky. They lost to Missouri. They had a loss to Missouri. We just talked about. But do I think that either one of these teams are going to beat them? I don't know. I think either one could though.
I think we move the 11 seed on. I think
Let's
we take
do
a
it.
little.
I'm
I think
in.
we take a little risk here
Let's do it.
because I think we're both going to align on the next game. I think Virginia moves on.
Mm-hmm.
The next one just makes my head hurt because the line's already moving towards my team. It opened at 2.5. Most sites now have it at 4.5. Some have it at 3.5. Money is flying in on Kentucky over Santa Clara. Here's the problem. If you get the Kentucky that plays to its potential, they win this game by 20. If you get the Kentucky that we've seen some other nights, they lose this game by 12. But I'm going to hope that Mark Pope has them ready to go against the West Coast Conference team on a neutral court. And I'm going to move Kentucky on.
All right.
And I'm going to lay the fucking points, which I can't believe I'm saying, or I'm going to put them in a goddamn moneyline parlay with death. But I think Kentucky moves on. I think he gets a win in this tournament.
4.5. I'd lay it. Yeah, I agree.
Then I obviously move Iowa State on.
Yeah.
All right. So when you hit next, what does it put you back to the East to the round of 32?
We're right back. Yep, we got Duke, Ohio State.
I think it's Duke, my friend.
Yeah, I think that's fairly easy. I think that Ohio State's playing really well. It might be the one time I've rooted for Ohio State because that's how much I dislike Duke. But I think Duke gets by him.
I do too. St. John's and Kansas.
Look, I'm going with the Johnnies. You're not going to get me to put Kansas past. We're getting a 5 seed moving on. They shouldn't be a 5 seed. They should have been the 4. They got these reversed. But I'm going to take the Johnnies.
Next up.
We've got South Florida, Michigan State. Hate to go chalk here, but I don't see South Florida beating Michigan State. I think Michigan State was probably a 2 seed before the Big Ten tournament. So don't let anybody tell you the tournaments don't matter because they're now at 3. So Michigan State moving on. Now we got your boys. And I know which way we're going here.
I like UCLA to beat them. I think UCLA moves on to the Sweet 16 and plays Michigan State in a rematch here.
I concur. Onward.
Hold on, UConn.
No, it brings us to Florida, Iowa. I love it.
Florida.
I agree. But I do think Florida can lay an egg like they laid at some point.
Can. And a 1 seed has gone. It does go out in the round of 32 often. We usually get 1, but I don't think it's Florida. Not this year.
Yeah.
Not here.
Brings us to Vanderbilt, Nebraska. We were low on Nebraska, then we were high on Nebraska. I don't love how they just got the brakes beat off of them. Now, they played a team that was destined to win the tournament that just went up and beat Michigan, but it didn't look good. So do they regroup and figure out, like, hey, we've got this big guy down low, let's feed him the ball and we can get past Vanderbilt? Or does Vanderbilt just outpace them and win the game?
So out of the 4 teams in this pod, right, I think this is one of the harder pods because I could see it being Troy and McNeese as easy as it's going to be Vandy and Nebraska. That's how much I don't trust either of these 4 and 5. But if it does stay chalk and we get Nebraska, Vandy like we're saying, I think Vandy is playing better, and I trust Vandy more on a neutral court.
I agree. We're going with the 5 seed over the 4. VCU, Illinois. Good story. We picked VCU in the upset. This is probably where it ends. Illinois is a really good team. I would think this would be it.
This is the team I don't trust. I never trust Illinois, as you know.
Well, you loved them last year, but you said they were injured at the beginning of the year, and you were right. And but they could never get their shit together. This year they do, and they can score just in bunches.
Right.
Like they
we'll
look
move on.
really good.
We'll move on, Illinois, and I'll yell at you on the show if people have
if VCU pulls it off.
If VCU's in the Sweet 16 and people have them there.
All right. Are your boys in St. Mary's that we love to root for when they take on the Zags? Are they gonna get Houston, or is Houston the runner-up from last year just back and better and too much for them to handle?
Yeah, that's the problem. I think this game might be close for a while. I think St. Mary's might be able to play with them. But Houston is so tournament tested. This is probably the worst second round matchup St. Mary's could have had. And because of that, I'm going to move on Houston.
Agreed. All right. I think the next one's pretty easy. Michigan versus Marty St. Louis. We're going to go with the Wolverines.
All right. So the Wolverines move on.
And that brings us to Tejas Tech, Alabama.
Yeah. I like Bama. I think Bama should have been a 2 seed. I thought Bama was going to climb the ladder. This team, again, they can't play defense sometimes, but my God, can they score the rock?
Yeah, I want to take the 5 seed over the 4, but Texas Tech has gone back to me not trusting them playing good teams, and Alabama's a good team, so I'm going to roll with Alabama with you. That brings us to Miami of Ohio or SMU versus Virginia.
All right, so Jimmy and I had a little debate last night. We won because we took Duke in the money line, and boy, was it a sweat. Jimmy fell asleep. I wanted to middle it, so he cost a little money there. Thank you for that. I told him, I said, I got a bad feeling Virginia's going to give them all they want, and they did. I think Virginia's a little better than people think because they've kind of been this team that's flown under the radar.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
I think Virginia wins easily.
So here's where you have to make your big pick. Kentucky, Iowa State.
Again, I've already talked to people who've called me about Kentucky, and people love Kentucky. I don't know why, but people like Kentucky. They think they can make a run in this tournament. I think they're going to win against Santa Clara. This is one of the worst matchups they could have seen because I think Iowa State is the best 2 seed on the board, and I actually have some tickets already on Iowa State to make the Final Four. And spoiler, I think Iowa State makes the Final Four. Iowa State moves on.
I agree. They're very good. I think they're the best 2 as well. I know they lost to Arizona slightly, but we talked before that game. We thought they were the better team before the game started. I don't necessarily feel the other way. It wasn't a convincing defeat. Zona, Utah State.
Zona.
High Point, Arkansas.
Do we do it?
You think Calipari's going to get knocked out of the second round?
There's a double-digit seed that makes the Sweet 16 every year. Do we have another one that you think gets there, or is this the one?
As importantly, and this is where I think bracketology comes into play. If this is the case, damn it, hold on, my bracket bounce. If this is the case, okay, and we moved them on. If we moved, let me go back to the.
If you moved on High Point, they would play Arizona. You'd put Arizona in the Elite Eight.
But you're right, and we know. So it's only going to, if you want to do it, fine, because it's only going to cost us 1. Because I think Zona beats Arkansas too. Now, I could be wrong.
I agree.
Right? So
I'm with you, but do you want to take a risk on High Point, who's already a 9-point dog, or do you just want to move Arkansas on? I mean, I'm fine either way. We're going to put another bracket in anyways. If you want to make this the one where we take a little risk, that's fine.
Well,
we're gonna get 2 in this $1 million tournament. This is our first one, so I'm good if you want to move High Point on. I'm good if you want to move Arkansas on because I like Arkansas as well.
Gosh, like I said, the swing doesn't bother me because I think Arizona beats High Point for sure. I think they probably beat Arkansas. But what if they don't beat Arkansas?
Let's make High Point our High Point.
All right. Because the next one we're going to go with, we've got another upset on the way. BYU, the 6 seed. They're going to take down Gonzaga, the 3 seed. Book it.
I agree. All right. So the next bracket we do, we'll hedge a little bit out just in case.
And then we've got this should be a good game, but Purdue's going to beat Miami.
I agree. Purdue meets Miami. All right, so we should be back up at the Duke one, right? Now?
Yep. Duke and the Johnnies.
Can the Johnnies make the Final Four? That's the question. Because the winner of this game, to me, beats Michigan State. Who wins this game?
Do the Johnnies have is the question to hang with Duke. I think they could defend well. Do they have enough offensive capability? And that's what I'm worried about. And that's what I don't know that they have.
Are these other 2 guys from Duke coming back for sure, or is it going to be Boozer and a bunch of stiffs versus the world?
I don't know. I didn't dive deep, but I mean, my heart wants to say Duke's going to get knocked out. And we're going to get the Johnnies moving on, but I got a feeling I'm wrong.
If I didn't feel so strongly that the Johnnies should be a 2 or 3, I wouldn't say this, but the reason is they're not a 5. So if they get into the sweet, like I told you before, this is the Elite 8 game in my mind.
Yeah. I'm going to let you make the call because I'm good either way.
St. John's ruins Duke's season.
Love it. I think Michigan State beats
wins the rematch. Yeah, they win the rematch here. And then
this is Vandy just beat the brakes off Florida.
That's why I like Florida. Florida's not going to let it happen again.
So now we get to Illinois, Houston. I want to say Illinois. I think we have to go Houston here.
You make this one. You make this pick. You like Houston?
My God.
To me, the winner of this, I don't know who can they beat Florida?
I don't.
Do you think Florida's a Final Four repeat, or do you think it's someone new?
I mean, if we got Houston, Florida, that'd be a repeat of the finals last year.
That's 100% true.
I think Illinois is going to win this game.
Okay.
I could be fucking terribly wrong.
Nope, that's fine. Hey, you gotta have a little balls to win these things.
All right, Michigan, Alabama. Are my Wolverines moving on?
Yes.
I agree. Here we go. Virginia, Iowa State. I think Iowa State, like we said, we think that we got to pick them. We just said we think they're the best 2 seed.
Iowa State for sure.
All right, now we get to Zona High Point. I think the road stops here.
Yeah, Zona moves on.
And then you got BYU, Purdue. Purdue's the much better team.
Purdue is the much better team.
But you do have the guy that might be the top draft pick or the number 2 draft pick playing for BYU. Is he can he Emeka Okafor it and rise up and carry a team?
I like Purdue.
He cannot, says Greg. I agree. That brings us to the Elite 8. We got the Johnnies and Michigan State.
Johnnies are going to the Final Four.
God, I love it. You know how much fun it'll be around here if that happens.
Yeah, I love I think the Johnnies. So he's been on the show before. Me and Kenny were talking. I haven't seen it yet. I'll look at it later when I get into bed and start making bets. I think the Johnnies might be favored to win this. Might be favored to win the East. I know it could be Duke, but if not, the Johnnies are going to be right there with them. They're going to be the second betting choice if they're not the favorite.
Love it. Florida, Illinois.
My vote's Illinois.
I'm in. I don't think Florida gets back there again. I think they played really good this year, but I think Illinois, it's their time. It brings us to Michigan and Iowa State.
We can flip a coin when we disagree. Iowa State's my Final Four pick. I picked them at the beginning of the year. I'm sticking with them.
So I'm going to go with you on this one, only because if it doesn't happen and Michigan makes it past, I'll be happy anyway.
Well, the good news is Michigan's going to be our national champion in the next bracket. So
good. I like it. And then we go down to Arizona and Purdue.
Zona. Arizona's the best team in the country. Arizona's the best team in the country right now. It's not Michigan. If Michigan plays to their potential, they're the best team.
Right.
Right now, Arizona's the best team in the country.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Purdue's just in their stride at the right time. That's the problem. Don't they feel like they've got a thing going?
Yeah, but Arizona hasn't missed a beat. I mean, they just ran through the Big 12.
Fair. All right. So we got St. John's, Illinois, Iowa State, and Arizona as your Final Four.
So, unfortunately, it's not the final that I'd want because of the way this bracket matches up. My final, unfortunately, is the Final Four. It's on the other side of the bracket. The first pick I'll make is it ends here for the Johnnies, and Illinois makes their return to the finals.
Wild. Does Zona get by Iowa State?
Zona beats Iowa State, in my mind, and Zona's your national champion.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Who you got bracket number one? The second one will be Michigan winning it all, by the way. Just letting everyone know. It'll be a little bit more chalky.
Total points tiebreaker. Final game.
And who do we have? We have Zona, Illinois, right?
I'm going to say 149.
It's a great number. I like it.
Done and submit. We are in. There you have it.
We're in, everyone. That was our bracket. Ravens are shady. That's kind of what we on Aberg choked. That's what we have for you tonight. We're going to be back Friday night as we're watching the first round finish up. We'll give you our take. We'll talk about the upsets. We'll give you what we think is going to happen in the second round. We'll let you know if our bracket has a chance or it just absolutely exploded. We'll talk to you Friday.